Yo, welcome back. Another week in the books. Episode 12 of the 217 podcast. Pretty wild weekend, I'm not gonna lie. Got to go hang out with some buddies. It was a good time. But I'm glad I can get back on here, do this morning. Talk a little bit about football, about what's going on. College football was not necessarily super wild yesterday. Um, there were some games that kind of shifted the way I think about some teams. I'm going to get into that here in a little bit. I've got a little bit of a spreadsheet that I've been working on for a little bit to kind of go over like what I understand in college football is like you're two things in college football. You're either a contender or a pretender. Um, and there's some teams that I think that they've kind of shown that they are no longer in the spot to where they can either one contend for their conference title or contend to make like the big goal, which is the CFP. But huge games this week. This was probably one of the best weekends to just watch college football again. I mean, you started the week off with two of the G5 or Group of Five teams that could potentially. Everybody was sitting there thinking that these two teams could be the ones that make the G5 spot in the playoff, which is North Texas and South Florida. South Florida pretty much handled this entire game. North Texas pretty much shot themselves in the foot the entire game. I mean, I think coming into it, North Texas's quarterback hadn't really turned the ball over all that much, but I mean, South Florida pretty much just handled them at home or at North Texas, with North Texas's quarterback throwing. I mean, he had in a span of like I think it was 5 minutes we saw they turned the ball over three different times on three different occasions and ended up giving South Florida pretty much like 21 points in a span of like 5 minutes. And so USF looks really good. I think that they are one of the teams in the American that can really compete. I mean, dude, we're 3 minutes in. We're gonna start. I'll talk about it. I'm gonna go over it. But geez, Vic, I mean, give me some grace, man. It's not even noon on a Sunday, and I'm already getting comments about, can you cover this? Yes, I'll cover it. You just need to chill. Yeah, you probably haven't even had your morning coffee yet, so just sit back, relax. I'll get to it. But crazy week of college football. There was some really big things that happened that I think are going to shift coaching, playing, recruiting classes. But I mean, it was just a wild weekend. But one of the big things I wanted to talk about that I got hit up with this week, we've got a sponsor of the 217 podcast. I mean, let's go. So I'm gonna add this in right now. Southern Cut Barbecue, man. This stuff is phenomenal. Really good stuff. I've had the brisket and the pulled pork that they make, and it is really good stuff. And so like just a little overview of this. I mean, you can if you're a I'm gonna pause, but if you're a fan of like good meat, um, this is really good stuff. And they actually came to me and said that they wanted to sponsor this. Said that once we hit 100 subs, we're going to throw in, they're going to throw something in along with the gift card. So whoever wins, I mean, yes, I know, Vic. Yes, I know. Yeah, I said what I said. Can't take it back. It's forever on YouTube now. But they said they're going to throw in a little something for whoever wins that giveaway. It's really good food. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't say that just because they've given me a little bit of it to try. It's really good stuff. I mean, if you're a fan of barbecue, it's really, really good. Probably some of the best barbecue I've had in the Midwest. You can go to places like I can't remember what that place is called in Champaign, but it's all right. It's good. But this stuff is like homemade. Really puts time. The guy puts a lot of time and effort into it. really cares about making like good quality food. So, and it's coming from somebody that lived in the South. So, I mean, if you've ever been to the South, food is phenomenal down there. I don't think I've ever had a bad meal down there. It's always really good. So, go give them a follow. It's at Southern Cut Barbecue on Instagram. Go give them a follow. You can DM them, see if they'll might cater an event for you, might make you some meals. It's really high quality, good stuff. I highly recommend it. And they're local, so I mean, you can't beat that. But yeah, so shout out to them. I'm glad that they reached out and decided to sponsor the 217 podcast. It's kind of crazy to think that that's actually a thing, but um, yeah, it's good stuff. So that's what I'll say about that. You can obviously go and hit them up and get some for yourself, and come back and tell me that I'm completely correct. But we don't you don't know until you know. But here's a list that I compiled yesterday, or sort of today. This is who I think are the contenders and pretenders in college football. I'm not really going to overview all the games. There was a lot of games yesterday. The only ones that I'm really going to talk about were like the bigger games. You had Alabama winning by 3 at Missouri. Missouri's not a bad team, but obviously you can see in this chart, like, so green pretty much means I think that this team has a really good chance of either, like, if you're a contender, making the college football playoff or winning your conference. Ohio State, Alabama's looked really good. Indiana might be, oh, I mean, I might be crucified for this, but I think Indiana might be either the best or the second best team in the nation. I mean, they are really good. Um, Cignetti's got those boys rolling right now. I mean, going into Oregon and beating them by 10 in Oregon. And I mean, it's a huge win. It's a program defining win. I mean, Cignetti has completely flipped around Indiana and made them into pretty much a force in the last 2 years of college football. I mean, if you think about it, you can't really tell me the last time. I mean, you had when Michael Penix was at Indiana, but before that, I mean, nobody talked about Indiana football, and they are completely back. They might be the best team in the nation. I'm not going to sit here and say that they could probably beat Ohio State, but I think they are one of the few teams that could give Ohio State a run for their money. And then you have the teams in the yellow. These are teams that either have lost, or I personally don't think that they are going to win their conference. They could still sneak into the playoff, but they're not a conference champion in my eyes. So you have teams like Oregon, who I don't think, unless some miracle happens, I don't think they are going to make it. I think it'll be Ohio State and Indiana, unless Indiana lays an egg against somebody like maybe Penn State. But now Penn State doesn't have a quarterback. Drew Aller done for the year. I think he broke his ankle. That's what I saw in the video. That's what my prognosis was. But once again, I'm not a doctor. But I think Bama's going to win the SEC. They've looked like the only team that kind of has separated themselves in that pack. And I think that they're a good team. That Florida State loss kind of looks like it was a little bit of a fluke week one. And I mean, Florida State's completely fallen off the rails. Lost to Pitt this week, dropping out of the top 25. Probably, I mean, they've lost 3 games now. Wild to see how fast a team can just like completely be derailed and become unranked within 3 weeks. But then you've got teams like Memphis, Ole Miss. I think Texas Tech's probably going to win the Big 12. They're really good. They fire on all cylinders. And you know what wins in college football? That's green stuff. And I ain't talking about a plant. I'm talking about money. And that team has dished it out, and now they've got one of the better rosters in college football. Miami is going to win the ACC. You can pretty much book it. The only team that's probably going to give them a run is probably Georgia Tech. I think that'll be the championship game. Clemson's not there. Florida State's not there. Pitt's all right. Pitt could probably give some people some scares, but I don't necessarily think that that is going to decide that conference. I think that Miami pretty much handles that, wins that conference, and gets their auto bid into the college football playoff top 4. A&M's looked good. They had kind of a shaky start to the game against Florida, but ended up winning 34-17. So another good win for them after Florida kind of became a little more relevant last week after beating Texas. But still, I mean, take care of business at home, win by 17. That's what you got to do in college football. As long as you win against a good SEC opponent or a SEC opponent, if you go on the road, or if you win at home, like Ole Miss did, who I have in the yellow down here, which is meaning that I just personally don't think that they're going to win their conference. I think that they have an outside shot of making the college football playoff, but you never know. They win by 3, being 32.5-point favorites against Washington State at home. I mean, you can't put them as high as A&M or Bama because of the not really. I would consider it like not a crazy win. You didn't cover. You didn't really perform. You gave up 24 to a team that you probably should have beat by 30 at home. And then I've got USF in the green. Like I said earlier, I think that they'll be the G5 auto bid. I think they're a really good team. I think they're going to go top 25 or top 15 after this week, after a couple teams have lost. And then I've got Memphis, who's also in the American. They're pretty much the only other team, and that game is looming. I'm not exactly sure when they play, but it's coming up. It's gonna that's gonna be a fun game to watch. I'm not sure if it's on a Friday or Saturday, but that if you're a college football fan, you probably should watch that game just to kind of be familiarized with teams that aren't like the Big Ten, the Big 12, the SEC, the ACC. Like everybody knows who those 4 conferences like big dogs are, or like quote unquote like best teams. But kind of like Boise State last year, everybody was like hyping them up because of Genty and because they were just kind of blowing people out. The American's probably going to be the conference that gets the auto bid from the G5 this year, just because they've got 2 teams that are probably – Memphis will be ranked after this week. They'll be a top 25 team. So you're going to have 2 top 25 American teams that both have looked pretty good. And then we've got the pretenders, who I think that they pretty much either ruled themselves out of the college football playoff, or they're going to have to really make a lot of noise to be able to get in. So like the yellow, obviously these are the teams that like Oklahoma's a yellow. They've got a really hard schedule. They just got beat by Texas with John Mateer back, who didn't look right. But at the same time, I mean, a loss is a loss. You can't really say that, oh, we had a quarterback at like half health. Don't play him. If he's at half health, don't play him. Simple as that. Don't pull the card that, oh, our quarterback was hurt. Well, you have backups. You have 4 other quarterbacks on the roster. I understand they're probably not as good as John Mateer, but at the same time, don't pull that card. So the yellow is like the teams that I think that they might have an outside chance, but it's more than likely they're not going to be in their conference championship. They're more than likely not going to be in the CFP. Green are teams that I think that could potentially have an outside chance of getting into the CFP. Like they're one of the, like Tennessee and Georgia Tech are 2 green teams in the pretenders that could potentially go into the contenders in the following weeks. And then the red, obviously these are teams that I just personally don't think they're not going to win their conference. They're probably not going to win, or they're probably not going to make a spot into the college football playoff. And I've got Illinois, Michigan, and Mizzou. Michigan got beat by USC. Illinois beat USC, so that makes Illinois look a little bit better. But it's still at the same time, with 2 losses, I don't see either of these teams making it into the college football playoff. And then I've got the yellow, where you've got Notre Dame, Georgia, LSU, and BYU. Notre Dame at 10-2 with no ranked wins unless USC is ranked should not be in the playoff. I'm a Notre Dame fan. I'll sit here and say it. Right hand up, accountability. They shouldn't be in. They don't have unless USC is like miraculously ranked like 20 or something, and that's your best win, and you lose to 2 top 5 teams by less than a score, then or a score combined, then maybe you have a little bit of a discussion there. But it's at the same time, I don't personally think a 2-loss team should ever get into the college football playoff. So I'll say it right now, I don't think Notre Dame deserves to be in. They're a good football team, but at the same time, you had to win one of the Miami Texas A&M games in order to basically qualify yourself to be a college football playoff team, and you didn't. So right now, your best win's Arkansas, who did kind of make Notre Dame look a little bit better. Notre Dame blew Arkansas out. Arkansas goes into Tennessee and loses by 3. Back and forth game, really close, pretty much down to the wire. So it makes Notre Dame look better, but at the same time, that's why I personally have Tennessee in this pretenders spot, but in the green because they did win. They still have an outside chance of getting into the SEC championship. They're 2-1. I mean, the conference is just loaded for them, though. Like the SEC, I mean, it's going to be so difficult. I mean, you've got Ole Miss sitting at 3-0. You've got A&M sitting at 3-0. You've got Alabama sitting at 3-0. And obviously, some of these teams play each other. So you're not necessarily like next week, Alabama next week Alabama and Tennessee play. It's going to be a crazy game. It's at Alabama, so you're probably going to see one of those two teams drop. And I mean, if you're losing 2 games, 3 games, I think last year it was like Texas and Georgia both had 1 or 2 losses. I'm not quite sure. And you're not really like in the SEC. You're going to have to be either like damn near perfect, lose 1 game, and then you might sneak in with 2 if they just completely beat up on each other. But it's highly unlikely, so that's why I've got Tennessee. They're like Tennessee and Georgia Tech are 2 of the teams that I think like they could slide into this contender spot, and you could maybe see with a loss, like if Tennessee beats Bama, that might drop them down, that might slide Tennessee over. But at the same time, and this is in no way like chronological order, like these are not like I don't think Ohio State, Alabama, Indiana, Miami are the 4 best teams in the nation in that order. I think that they are easily the like 4 of the top 10 or top 8 or top 5, however you want to say it. But you can't really, I mean, this is going to shake really a lot within the coming weeks. So like this is just a week. I think we're in week 7. Yeah, week 7. This is just the week 7 kind of who I see as contenders, pretenders. We'll see. We'll revisit it next week, see what shakes up, see what I think. But at the same time, I'm not a person on the committee, and I am just a 22-year-old idiot that's sitting in my room talking about football. So take every word I have with a grain of salt. So, but I think those are the teams that look or are the pretenders and contenders in college football. We'll see within the coming weeks. We'll revisit this next week. I'm going to have a little more input with some other people next week, kind of get a little more outside input on who they feel are the best fit teams for the college football playoff at this time. Obviously, we're like a ways away from that even being a discussion. I mean, we still got 6 weeks left of college football before that's even a thing. And then you have conference championships, and I mean, a lot can happen, but this is just kind of like what I view as like the midway point. So I wanted to make that Excel sheet, kind of give my thoughts. I'm probably going to get flamed by a couple of my friends because they think that I'm an idiot because of their team. I don't care. It's pretty plain and simple. But probably the only really crazy games, again, Indiana goes on the road, beats Oregon, Pitt beats Florida State, Bama beats Missouri, Ohio State takes care of Illinois at Illinois. And then you have like Georgia Tech goes on the road or goes and plays Virginia Tech, beats them by 15. I mean, it's Georgia Tech looks good. They're probably going to be a top 12 team. Probably the only team that I think made a pretty much a statement win this weekend was Texas Tech. They were at home. They played Kansas, beat them 42-17. That team looks really good. Texas Tech looks really good. Spent a lot of money in the offseason, got some good players, and now they're just rolling. A pretty kind of a scary game was Georgia Auburn. Georgia was down 10-0. Should have been down probably 17-0. Kind of one of the weirdest games that I think I've ever watched. Georgia punched the ball out on the goal line, even though I think Jackson Arnold crossed the plane technically. So I'm interested to see what analysts and rule specialists have to say about that. I know during the game they said 2 different analysts said that should have been a touchdown, and one said that shouldn't have been a touchdown. And then on Twitter, people were saying both ways. So I don't really know. In my eyes, it's like if you cross the plane and drop the ball, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's always ruled a touchdown, but at the same time, like you never know, depending on the refs. But Georgia ends up pulling it out. I mean, they end up winning 20-10. They pretty much stopped Auburn in the entire second half. LSU played at home, played South Carolina, who's not a bad team. South Carolina is just one of those teams that it's like any week they're one of the like so you have like the top tier of the SEC and then the middle tier, and I think that that separation becomes more evident towards the end of the year. But like right now, South Carolina is one of those teams where it's like it's kind of like South Carolina, Florida, Vandy, like any of those three teams. If you play them any week and you don't come and play your best, then you have a chance to be on upset watch. So that's just kind of my take. BYU played they played at Arizona. They ended up winning by 6. A pretty back and forth game. BYU looks pretty good. I think that team will probably be the team that gives Texas Tech the Big 12 championship matchup. Because like Arizona State lost again. They were without Sam Leavitt, and so they lost to Utah pretty bad, 42-10. I mean, that's a hard loss to kind of sit there and justify them being a top 25 team. And then last week, I sat here and shit on Arch Manning. Unranked Texas goes and beats Oklahoma. I'll still stand by it. I don't think Arch Manning's all that's talked up to be, but at the same time, a win's a win. They won. They'll be a top 25 ranked team again. They beat the number 6 team in the country. So I'll be interested to see I don't know what time the AP poll gets released, but it'd be interesting to see all the shifts. I think there'll be some drastic shifts, and there'll be some people that are really like upset because of it, because there's some teams that, yeah, they beat good teams, but at the same time, like it's like you have to look at, oh yeah, they beat the number 6 team, Texas did, but at the same time they lost to unranked Florida, who's now 3-4. So it's like, you know, you kind of have to like sit there and balance it out and understand that even if you beat a good team, that doesn't necessarily move you in the right direction after you lose to a not very good team. So, but story of the weekend for me, besides Indiana, is probably Penn State losing again to Northwestern at home. James Franklin has a $55 million buyout. I don't think that he's going to get like released, fired, cut, whatever you want to call it. Just because it's like 55 million is a lot of money, and then you have to go. So you're going to basically pay him 55 million to sit at home and not coach or coach somewhere else, and then you're going to pay somebody else a like large chunk of change because it's Penn State, and it's like, are you going to be better with or without him? So those are the kind of things that you have to weigh. But them losing Drew Hours pretty big. I don't know what that does to Drew Hours' draft stock. And I don't know if he necessarily comes back for another year. I don't know. I think he's a junior. But I don't know if that kind of diminishes that. He's always going to be like a high up prospect in draft boards just because of the talent and because of like the what could be. Because a lot of teams, while they usually draft off of like college like stats, sometimes they also draft off of like potential and like Drew Hours, like huge for a quarterback. I mean, he's built like Herbert, Josh Allen. I'm not saying that that's like his pro comps, but those are like similar guys that are built similarly to Drew Aller. He's got an explosive arm. He just struggles to read the defense sometimes. But at the same time, Griffin made a good point to me a couple weeks ago. He's like, sometimes college quarterbacks that are in college that don't necessarily like succeed or live up to that hype get to the NFL and they are productive. And that's just kind of the product of like, sometimes you aren't a college quarterback. Sometimes you are a better professional quarterback than you are a college quarterback. I mean, that's the entire thing. Like you just never know. It's kind of like, it's just luck sometimes. I mean, you don't really, you just kind of flip a coin and it's like, you might hit, you might miss. And more than likely in the NFL, there's usually more misses than I think hits. That's why teams are consistently bad, even if they have a top 5 pick or a top 10 pick year after year after year. look at the Bears. I mean, we've had like a top 10 pick for like the last 5 years. Um, and so that's my piece on it. I I don't see Penn State really recovering from this. I don't even know who their backup quarterback is. I'm sure it's another 4 or 5 star. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of the beast when you're at a big school like that and have a lot of money and can have good recruits. But we'll see. Be interested to see how that team bounces back. I don't know who they play next week. Obviously, I'll get into that next week, but at the same time, I'm only looking a day at a time. And then just to go over the NFL today, I know that this was kind of a late, like a late podcast. I usually like to do this before the NFL starts, but obviously I just didn't get up, didn't get moving. Oh yeah, I forgot. I'll cover this. So EIU, man, um, it was a battle of two undefeated teams in the OVC. I watched a little bit of the game, and Gardner Webb just kind of got the best of them. It's tough. They play SEMO next week. I'll be at no, I don't know if I'll be at that game. I'm not sure. Nope, I won't be at that game. Yeah, it's on the road. But good luck to EIU. I hope y'all win. All my boys down there. Hope everybody's staying healthy. Hope everybody's having a good time down there. I know that losses always suck, but at the same time, like you're still sitting at a good spot. You're still only one loss in the conference, in a conference that doesn't necessarily look like it's like super, I would say, balanced this year. I think it's more of like Tennessee Tech's at that one spot, and I don't know if they're ever going to move off of that. They're really good, um, and they're like top 10 ranked in FCS, but at the same time, nobody really understands FCS rankings. So, but oh, I hope EIU gets back on track. I hope they beat SEMO. I don't know when the last time we beat SEMO was, so I hope they end up going down there and taking care of business, getting it done. So hopefully they can do that next week. I'll probably watch the game, but obviously I won't be at the game. Probably try to get one more of those in before the year's over. So looking at the NFL this week, you've got some pretty decent games. You got the Seahawks and Jags that are going on right now. That's going to be a pretty good game. I think the Seahawks and Jaguars are both in that, like, if you look at the AFC versus the NFC, like, I think those are two, like, comparable teams. Obviously, the Jaguars are coming off beating Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, whereas the Seahawks are coming off of playing who did they play? They played somebody last week. Oh, yeah, they lost to the Bucks. Which, I mean, the Bucks are a really good team in the NFC. It looks like they might separate themselves a little bit, but at the same time, it's like they've got Godwin and Evans are hurt today, so we'll see how they do. Should be a pretty big day for my fantasy team because I have Emeka Ibuka in 2 of my leagues, but I'm not talking fantasy because I'm horrible. So that's all I got to say about that. Chargers, Dolphins, Rams, Ravens. Ravens are without Lamar again today. Colts and Cardinals. Cardinals are without Kyler. Cowboys, Panthers, and then you got the Patriots, Saints. Patriots are kind of looking towards maybe like submitting themselves as a force in the AFC with Vrabel. They beat the Bills last week at Buffalo, which was a huge win for them. And then you got Browns, Steelers, and then later on in the day you got like Titans, Raiders, which is going to be probably the most boring 3 o'clock game that we've ever seen. I don't know why in the world. Well, I do know why. I mean, you can market it well. It's Genty versus Cam Ward, but at the same time, I don't think anybody really is going to watch that game. 49ers, Buccaneers is going to be really good. I think that game's going to be really fun to watch. That'll probably be the 3 o'clock game that I watch the most. And then you got Bengals, Packers, where the Bengals starting old man Joe Flacco. So that's going to be a really fun game to watch. See if they can bounce back. See if they can maybe, with the Ravens being banged up, the Steelers being the Steelers, and the Browns being the Browns, maybe see if they can sneak their way back into a contending spot with Burrow still unlikely to play until later on in the year. And then your Sunday night football game is going to be really fun to watch. Lions, Chiefs. These are the 2 teams that I thought last year were going to make the Super Bowl. I thought that was going to be the matchup. Obviously, it was the Eagles and the Chiefs, but I think that game's going to be really fun. A lot of offense. See what Kansas City does to kind of. They're sitting here right now at 2-3, and it's like, oh man, are the Chiefs like? Are they? This isn't the Chiefs that we've seen the last couple of years. So they look vulnerable. They look like if they drop to 2-4, and that's gonna be a tough, tough hole to dig out of. So we'll see, but that'll be a fun Sunday night game. And then your Monday night game is the greatest team in America. Um, and I'm not talking about the Buffalo Bills. Bills Falcons play early on the Monday night slate, the doubleheader, and then Bears Commanders are the late game. Um, Jaden Daniels versus Caleb Williams again, and we'll see if Tyreek Stevenson decides to bat the ball into the end zone and basically blow up the Bears season once again. And if that happens, oh, seriously, this is what we're saying right now. What color should Caleb paint his nails? Well, Thick, I know that you are a big red nail paint guy. Like you paint your nails red, so like I would assume in on game days you paint them blue. So I would probably go with like a navy or an orange. I think that'd look good. Team colors probably get the guys fired up. We're just gonna move past that. But it'll be a fun game to watch. I'll definitely be tuned in for that. Hopefully the Bears can keep rolling, keep moving in the right direction, get above 500. And really, like, I hope Caleb kind of shows the development that he's had versus Jaden Daniels, where he kind of looks like he's in that. I know he's been banged up, but he's kind of had that like sophomore slump a little bit. But at the same time, it'll be fun to watch a battle versus the first pick versus the second pick. A lot of people think that JD should have went one. A lot of people think that the Bears messed up, but at the same time, hopefully Caleb can show like solidify himself as why he should have been the first pick. But Commanders are really good. They've got a great defense. Offense, I think they're going to be without McLaurin and Debo, so they're going to be pretty hindered on offense. But at the same time, you can never count JD out. He's just a great quarterback that makes a lot of plays. He makes up for a lot of mistakes that his team has. And obviously, Dan Quinn is going to come out with a great scheme against Caleb. So we'll see. I hope that hopefully I get on here next week and say, hallelujah, Bears win again. But at the same time, like if we lose on the road, I wouldn't be surprised. But at the same time, it'll still be fun. Not doing not gambling advice. Actually, I will. Oh man, I'm tired of losing these. I'm tired of losing by one leg every single week. It's getting really, really frustrating for me. Um, I picked four teams today that I thought were going to win. I took the Colts -2.5, playing the Cardinals without Kyler. And then I have Rams -2.5. The Ravens are without Lamar. I took the Cowboys just straight up, and then I took the Patriots. And as we look at it right now, Patriots are up 7-3, 9 to go in the first. Cowboys are down to the Panthers 3-0 with 6 to go in the first. Ravens are beating the Rams by 3, and the Colts are up 7 right now. So once again, gambling, not gambling advice. Probably should just fade me every week. If I come on here and give you a pick, take the other team. It's how you make money in this industry. You just get on here and basically do the opposite of whatever I say. And then the last thing, trying to keep this one a little shorter than usual just so that everybody can kind of go and watch the NFL, myself included. Last thing, my shout out of the week. I didn't really think about this. We'll go. I've got it. Yeah. Guy who was on here last week, talking reckless, making fun of my stature. But shout out Riley for driving home last night at like 4 a.m. in the morning. Just kind of, taking one for the team. So shout out him. Really cool, you dude. I really appreciate it. And shout out Vaughn Black. What they did to you was messed up, man. Just know that. You should never flip somebody. No, nobody should ever flip somebody's hat off, especially if you're bald. So, no, just messing with him. Vaughn's a great dude, but yeah, shout out those two guys. Shout out Notre Dame. Another good week, another good win. Hopefully we continue to move in the right direction and we get into a good bowl game. But at the same time, we'll see. That's all you can say. We'll see. That's all you can do in this life. So hope everybody has a blessed Sunday. Thanks everybody for watching. Again, shout out Southern Cut Barbecue. Phenomenal food. Go give them a follow. Tell them I sent you. So they kind of sit there and think that this was a good investment. And I just hope everybody has a blessed week, blessed Sunday. Take some time out of your day to just kind of relax, rest, get ready for this week, whatever it's bringing to you. And yeah, I just hope everybody's doing good. I appreciate everybody for coming in today. And until next week, go Irish, go Bears. We'll see. Hopefully we get a happy Bryce next week. We've had that for the last couple of weeks. And it's ironic that I didn't do the podcast for the 2 weeks that Notre Dame lost. But everybody take care. I'll be back here Sunday next week, probably at 10:30. Yeah, I just hope everybody has a blessed day. Keep on keeping on.